we are going to listen to Simona Cristiano, who is researcher at CREA, Council for Agriculture Research and Economic Center for Policies and Bioeconomy. So, Ms. Cristiano, all yours. Thank you very much.
Here we are. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me for this very nice round table. I'm here to talk about the AKIS in Italy and our work, the process of for the AKIS strategic plan to integrate within the CAP strategic plan in Italy. So I must say, in this moment, we are in the phase in which we are just writing down the AKIS strategy plan, and the AKIS strategy design and the implementation. So we are working parallel between the AKIS strategy and the intervention, the design of the interventions. The work is done together with the ministry at the national level and the bulk of the regional administrations, which are already in charge of implementing the measures 1, 2, and 16 of the actual current RDPs. So we are benefiting from the competencies which are already on the field, now applying the current RDPs. And this is facilitated through CREA because CREA, my research institute, is a partner of the National Rural Network, and the National Rural Network is facilitating this multi-level dialogue between the ministry and the regional administrations for preparing the CAP strategic plan, especially for the AKIS strategic plan. So from what are we starting? In Italy, you may understand that we have AKIS multiplicity, I would say, a plurality of AKIS. So AKIS are characterized by diversity, by pluralism, and multi-level AKIS. So we have a diverse AKIS because of the multi-actoriality. For example, we have some AKIS at the territorial level with a different rate of participation of different types of AKIS actors. While in certain AKIS we have, for example, the organic farming AKIS are multi-actor, but they mostly lack of advisory services. While in other AKIS we have more integration of advisory services. The diversity of the AKIS is because of because they reflect the specificities of territories, orographic territories also, because the presence of some sectors and not of some others, for example. So we have really different AKIS across the whole territory in Italy. Different levels of implementation of the AKIS actors, participation of the AKIS actors, so local, regional, and national level. Our AKIS are also characterized by trans-territorial interplays, and this is very nice, increasing also because of the cooperation for innovation measures since, I must say, since the previous programming period, already by measure 1 to 4, and these interplays at cross-regional level were applied. And that multi-level implementation of the AKIS are more characterized by different level, more structured, organized relations, so interconnections between the different levels, instead of informal interplays, let's say. But because of this diversity, these AKIS benefit from cross-fertilization, mostly because of the presence of universities and research institutes and some newcomers like innovation support services, which are participating in different AKIS, in different operational groups, for example, in different regions. And so they are somehow cross-fertilizing knowledge among the different AKIS. Overall, these AKIS are characterized by a phase of transition, because they are there are some advisors, for example, they are organizing themselves in networks, in competencies and so on. I mean, different situations are in place nowadays within the AKIS in Italy. And so to say, I mean, there are different, there's a transition, a phase of transition of our AKIS, also because of the characteristics of the farmers. There are more younger farmers coming in the sector. In this slide, you can see the situation, I mean, the main AKIS actors at the national level, which we observed in 2019 when we conducted the interviews because of the I2Connect, for the proposal of I2Connect project, and the writing of the AKIS report, assessment report. You can see in blue, I mean, the characterization, apart from the fact that this visualization is not really helpful in visualizing the connection between the actors, but what we can see here is that there's a plurality of actors. In blue, you have the number of institutional actors, the policymakers, institutions which are in charge of providing a framework and directionality of the main areas of knowledge within the AKIS. And here we have also another ministry today, the Ministry of Ecological Transition and the Ministry of Digital Innovation, which were not in place in 2019. So, I mean, we have a plurality of actors which characterize our AKIS at national, but also and probably more at a territorial level. Knowledge flows. I must say this is something that is changing over time. But what emerged from our interviews, our observation on the field, is that knowledge flows in our AKIS are characterized by more institutional and formalized relations, I would say interconnections at meso and micro level, so at national and regional level, because relations are still shaped by institutionalization of the relations. They are more organized, more relating to the different bodies which are in charge of the different institutional functions and roles. So there are more bilateral relations between the ministries, between the regions and the ministry, the different ministries, and also at the regional level, because the articulation of the institutions at the regional level include that these bilateral relations are replicated at the regional level. So the knowledge flows there are more shaped by the more traditional transfer model of dialogue, let's say. While at local level, sub-regional level, we have more informal interplays. Relations are more multilateral, more personal, not so much formalized. And this is giving more floor to the implementation of circular and interactive knowledge flows models. I must say that because of the territorial level, there's a more system thinking, system view by the partner, the actors, so that they are maturing some identity, some acknowledgement as part of the AKIS, of the local systems of knowledge. And this is very important. This, I don't know if you can see well this slide. This was still from the I2 Connect report and the state of the AKIS in Italy. What you can see here, for example, is about the interplays within the AKIS. In the first graphic, you have the relations between a research institute and universities with the other actors, and what emerge here clearly is their connections mostly with public administrations, of course, because of funding reasons, and with the farmers unions, sorry, with the farmers unions. And this because farmers unions, I must say, are increasingly interacting with the research and universities to provide good quality advisory to farmers. This is very important. I must say that this graphic is also influenced by the fact that at national level, the farmers unions have institutional relations with university and research institute and with the ministry. So this is why also this peak of interaction with them, while the education system is far away from university and research institute. And the same is here in this second radial graphic, and where it's clear that the connection between public and private advisory services with the education system is very low. And this is something that we have to work with through the AKIS strategy plan for the next programming period. Let's talk about our policy framework and governance. We have a multi-level governance. We decide, for example, for the CAP strategic plan, that we will have a national CAP strategic plan, but very similarly applied through regionalized interventions. So very possibly we will have very few national interventions, which are still to be decided. So a multi-level governance of the CAP interventions. The institutional coordination responsibilities are defined by areas of knowledge. So we have the research and innovation, Ministry for Research and Innovation, Ministry for the Education. The Ministry for Public Institutions is in charge of, is responsible for the advisors organization, for example.
Excuse me, Ms. Cristiano, just a minute. It's just to ask if you can be more or less short, because we are bad with the schedule. So if you can be a little bit short, thank you very much.
Yeah. This gives us some shortcomings because of the plurality of policy frameworks, poor coordination at political level, at policy between the policy frameworks, scarcity of statistical information, and high level of bureaucracy. Fortunately, we have two bodies which coordinate effectively at least the implementation of the intervention, CAP implementation. These are the International Network for Agriculture, Forestry, Agriculture, and Aquaculture, Fisheries Research, and the National Rural Network. They are crucial. For research and innovation, again, we have a plurality of responsible bodies for research and innovation. And on the other side, also a variety of types of research and innovation bodies, private, public, spin-offs from the universities, farm-based organizations which are emerging also to apply, for example, in organic farming, and they apply also research and innovation. But research and innovation overall is characterized by dynamicity of private research at the territorial level, I must say, But on the other side, we have competition for the public funding because of the decreasing of public funding for them, and the increasing awareness and interest around CAP topics, which was not before this programming period. Secondary education, again, a plurality of plurality and numerosity of secondary education. The point here is that they have a high degree of autonomy, and this is, of course, is not very good for the coordination with the other parts of the other components of the AKIS. But on the other side, we have a good variety of vocational education bodies, private, public, financed by different funds. Advisory services, we have a plurality of them. I mean, you should think that associated only for the agronomist, we have 20,000 advisory in Italy, plus you have the veterinarians and the technicians. With a different organizational models, but a low degree of differentiation of methods and tools, and the lack of systemic need assessment on farmers. And this is really bad. But it's the strong point here is that they have a mandatory long life learning, which is because of the professional associations. So we can see here again different private and public advisors. Farmers unions provide advisory services. Farmer-based organizations, we are increasing entering of innovation support services and advisors from other sectors. The farmers are also changing because we have increasing rate of younger farmers, but digital device and plurality of farmer-based and using organizations. The degree of I mean, the propensity to association is increasing among our farmers. So, the last slide, towards the CAP strategy plan, we arrived through different methodological documents, common design and so on, to define some steps. And now we are designing the AKIS strategy. We are together on the same table, the ministry, the rural development network, and the regional staff, technical staff, staffs to design the strategy and the interventions. Here some examples. We will have a common framework at the national level, regionalized intervention, possible national interventions. We will have training for the trainers, advisors, and innovation support services. For example, peer-to-peer training activities to help innovation support services. Learning from each other. The setting up of an overall framework for the demo farms, which are less present in Italy. So we will set up a network of demo farms and tutors for demo farms, activities for demo farms, provision of advisory services and advisory networks, the setup of innovation support services, local hubs of innovation and back office, and the scopes for innovation. The role of the CAP network will be crucial, for example, to network with the other projects at European level. As CREA, we are already in some projects at the European level, which are targeted to innovation support services. And we are planning to have also cross-regional operational groups. And so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cristiano.